everyone, I'm Jessica Abo, and it's Wednesday, which means it's time for our Open Up Wednesday segment, the time of the week that I like to sit down with famous people and find out how they turned an ow moment into a power story. Today you're going to hear from fashion designer Carmen Marc Valvo. I first met Carmen several years ago while I was covering New York Fashion Week, and I learned that just like my dad, Carmen is a cancer survivor. Carmen has done so many things to help raise awareness and funds for cancer patients, and I had the opportunity to sit down with him and find out when it wasn't cool to be Carmen Marc Valvo.
My first fashion show, bringing Nina Ricci to the country, was a huge success, and so we were going to do it the second time. We had it at Parsons School of Design. And being a creative individual and being really smart-assed, I think, I decided we're going to make my own invitations. So they were done as a lithograph process. So they were embossed, had white rice paper, and we had the whole thing. I made them myself. They were beautiful. So there was no writing on it. It was just an embossed, invitation. And it was a pink and white collection. Pink. Thank you for wearing pink.
In your honor.
In your honor, yes, pink. It was beautiful. And so we got them all addressed, got the stickers on, sent them through the machine, the postage machine, and had the fashion show, had the top models of the day. And there we were at Parsons downstairs in the auditorium. And somebody, my PR person, came back to me and goes, "Just tell the girls to smile. It's not that bad." And I'm like, "What do you mean smile?" "Just tell them to smile. Everything will be fine." I'm like, "Okay." And the girls they were a little flustered coming back for their change. And they would go back and come back. And it was like, something didn't seem right. And I didn't know what was wrong. And I went down to take my bow. There were 6 people in the audience. 6 people. I think 3 were staff members and 3 were, I thought I was going to die. This is the big fashion show that, here we are bringing the collection back, and I finally got credit for being the designer, whereas the first fashion show I didn't. So this was my one big moment to shine, and there was nobody in the audience. And what had happened was, when the envelopes that were pink went through the postage machine, they were printed red. The post office just threw them away. They didn't realize that they had postage, so they thought there was no postage on them. They were all returned. They all came back about a week later.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And that scar, I just remember taking the rolling rack down 7th Avenue, just right here from Parsons, over to the showroom, which was just a couple of blocks away, feeling like I wanted to kill myself. It was just like, it was devastating. It was really, really devastating for me. On a happy note, one of the people who was there was Women's Wear Daily, the trade paper,
Sure.
And they gave me a good review.
Okay.
So I was like, there was a God, thank God. But I would not have another fashion show for at least 12 years. I was just petrified to have one. It took me 10 years after I started this company that I had my first fashion show. I wouldn't have a formal fashion show. I was sure nobody would show up.
But that wasn't your fault. It was the postage.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You went through this incredible cost to have a fashion show for 6 people. The models must have cost me, even back then, it must have been $30,000, $40,000 just for the models to show for 6 people.
I'm sure that has happened to so many people where they were in a show and they forgot a line, or they did something and it felt like their world was caving in. So what do you want to say to someone who may be going through the first fashion show that he or she's ever going to put on, and they're petrified, or they just had it and it didn't go well?
I don't know. Sometimes the scars take a long time to heal, but I think eventually they do. And even if it took 10 years for me, I wouldn't want anyone to waste another 10 years, because I did have a show. I did have a company that was very viable, but I was called like the best kept secret on 7th Avenue, because no one was like, does he show? Does he have a collection? But who is this person? So it was like, it's not good to hide. I guess that's my whole point. It's not good to hide. Mistakes do happen in life. You do make mistakes. You make them, or you are just thrown into a situation where you have no control over what you're doing. But I think you just have to ride the storm, make the best of it, and just go on, take a deep breath, and no, things are going to get better, because it sure as hell can't get any worse than that.
Thank you again to Carmen and everyone on Carmen's team for helping make this week's video possible. To leave you with something fun, I actually wore a Carmen Marc Valvo dress to my sister's wedding, and I choreographed a flash mob with my friends and family to surprise my sister and my brother-in-law. Now, there is a part in the video where it looks like I may have a wardrobe malfunction, but I'm happy to report I get through the dance just fine. If you like this video, you can click the thumbs up button, and don't forget you can follow us on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter. We're on Snapchat, and you can subscribe to my channel by clicking here. We will see you next time.